Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. How on earth could you back up on someone at full speed or so bad it crunched her whole front? LOL, at least she tried. Karens are insane. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Karen crashed into my Jeep and expects me to pay her cash for her damages. So some backstory. I own a Jeep, fully built, lift kit, ADD bumpers, the whole shebang. So one day I'm coming home from work, it's a summer day, the roof's off, and I'm having some open-top fun. Stop at a red light, and suddenly, screech, bang! I drive forward slightly and go back to assess the damage, and lo and behold, it's a Mercedes C-Class, new one on that as well, completely destroyed from the front, and my beautiful Jeep had no damage apart from a few scratches. I went to check on the passenger of the Mercedes, got them out, luckily she was unharmed. These Mercedes are definitely safe. Under a minute after she's out of the car, she starts screaming about how I wrecked her car. I told her calmly that she was the one who rammed into me. I think she understood how my hitting her would be impossible. I offered to share our insurance details because I knew that Mercedes damage doesn't come cheap, but she said she didn't have insurance. She insisted that I pay her $10K cash. How she got this number? I don't know. I said that was just plain wrong as she hit me. It's her fault for not having insurance. She then went on a ramble about how her kids needed the money and they had no money at the time, and now her kids will have to starve because she'll have to pay to fix her car, and how it will all be my fault when they're on the street tomorrow. Yeah, on the street with a Mercedes, my butt. That's why you should have insurance. But no, she said that she would call the cops if I didn't pay her. I refused, as this is just dumb, so she called the cops. Yeah. Cops came, assessed the damage, and asked us what happened, and she said, and I quote, "He backed into me at full speed on a red light." SMH. Then they asked me what happened, and I told them, and it became a he said, she said situation. Luckily, a shopkeeper was there and saw the whole thing and even captured it on a surveillance camera. Needless to say, I came out on top. Cops got her for reckless driving and driving without insurance. She then started yelling at the cops about how they would just let a criminal get away. They explained that I did nothing wrong and that they now had video evidence. The partner of the cop came to me and told me if I could drive, I can leave, so I got in my Jeep and left. Never want to have a Karen experience again. Not worth it. And our next story. The HOA wanted my parents' house. My father moved into a rural area in 1980, a few years after I was born, and soon came my sister. They stayed there ever since. We grew up, etc., etc. Dad died in 2012, and Mom died in December 2018. My sister moved away in 2002 to get married, kids, etc., and doesn't want to be involved in the affair since I'm the eldest son and she lives 3/4 of a country away. Over the years, the area was developed and is now more of a suburb. Either way, I take possession of the house through the will, affairs of the estate, etc., basic total control, nothing to worry about. I get a letter in the mail in February that my parents agreed after their death to sell the house through the trust to the HOA and the property would be up for sale. I find no such documentation, and my demand to the lawyer, which is a legit licensed lawyer, is going unanswered to provide the written documentation. I've left a few messages with the admin there, but I'm not putting any effort into it if they're not going to respond. I'm not one for sentimental value, and I really am not attached to the house, so if they want it, the price is going to be dictated by me, not them. I live a couple towns away and have no interest in moving in. My house is bigger, or even thinking about keeping it. My dad was getting senile and might have agreed to something. My mom's a pushover and might have agreed to something. Update. After receiving my green slip back and leaving multiple voicemails, I finally got a letter in the mail, but it was basically saying it was a verbal agreement. Not gonna fly. Good luck. I'm sending a letter today demanding an in-face meeting on the property with the lawyer, HOA members, or I'll be asking the Board of Zoning to change it so I can install a wastewater treatment facility. So after receiving a certified letter at the end of April from the HOA's attorney, he basically ignored me about the verbal agreement details, I contacted my corporate attorney, who I've known for nearly 2 decades, and he's got a Connecticut bar license, so he'll help if I need to. After not hearing from their attorney for over a couple of weeks, leaving calls and messages with his admin, I realized that I was not going to get what I wanted, which was literally to talk to the guy and get the HOA's documentation. So one last college try at the end of April, and nothing still. I got crap to do, and all I got now is a slab and some overgrown lawn. With the coming of spring and the constant rain is turning into a mud pit. I live 2 towns over and don't have time for this. On May 3rd, I sent a notice to the surrounding houses that construction was to begin on a new sewage treatment plant and to contact the HOA board for more information, knowing it would take USPS a day or 2. Brought the dozer back on a flatbed and planted it in the driveway where you couldn't miss it. 8 a.m. on Tuesday the next week, got a call from an HOA representative wanting to argue with me in regards to this new plant and so forth about property rights, ownership, etc. Not gonna lie, choice words and yelling ensued, ending with, "If your GD lawyer would call me back, we wouldn't be having this discussion." Good luck with the smell. Keep in mind, nothing filed with the town, no real desire to create a sewage treatment plant, but if you want to ignore me, good luck. About 45 minutes later, I get a call on my cell from an attorney, and I swear to God I was talking to a hostage instead of a lawyer. I told him I'll see him at my parents' address at 3 p.m. and we'll finish this deal one way or another. And bring a laptop. Wanted to argue about not officially meeting in an office, blah, 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 and I hung up. That was on May the 7th. I knew full well why I chose to send the letter on the 3rd, because on Wednesday, coming up at the HOA board has its monthly meeting, so I wanted it on the agenda. For about an hour, calls would come in from the attorney's admin wanting to change it to his offices, wanted to work this out by mail, etc. Nope, 3 p.m. on site. Called my attorney. He luckily was out of court by 11 and would come down. Had lunch with him and headed back to the property. Grabbed a couple of lawn chairs, a folding table from my house, and my attorney brought a laptop and a printer. I've known him for decades, and he's a no bullcrap, let's get it done, no mercy kind of guy right from law school. Went to corporate IP to family law and dabbles in real estate. Good guy to know. 2:55 rolls around and they show up. The lawyer and 2 board members, one who looks like he should move to God's waiting room and the other a mid-50s kind of guy who's probably an orthodontist. We all make introductions and sit, and I say, "This is how it's going to go. You want this property and I want to sell. I'm tired of the games and the non-responsiveness. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to buy this property pending approval of the HOA board majority, and you can do whatever you want with this place. You'll own it, free and clear." The orthodontist speaks and attempts to say, "As conveyed to us by past board members, that your father advised us that the property would be automatically transferred to the HOA upon your parents' death." He actually sounded articulate and with some authority. I like him. Me. "What docs do you have to support that?" Ortho. "Nothing, just witnesses." Goes into a discussion about how it was told to them by board members and that their unresponsiveness was because they thought they were in the clear and no reason to work with me because it was all legal, blah, blah, and they were going to get the property by some court decree shortly. I look over at my attorney and he looks back. "Well, fortunately for you, that's at least 50% true. You'll get this property, but it's not free. Brass tacks, $755,250. You pay all closing costs. You'll have my signature the minute you have approval. We'll facilitate the docs and the routing wire information." The eyes of the crypt keeper and the ortho went wide, and he said, "That's a lot of money. We'll have to bring it to the board to vote, but I'm unsure." Good enough for me. We have some preliminary docs and an official letter to present. Looking over at my attorney and was printing the docs away on the table. The lawyer says, "Well, it'll take up to 30 days, and the bank check will take as long for an entity of this type if this is approved." My attorney says, "Best thing I heard in a long time." Love you, Mark. We have e-file capability with 3-day turnaround filing to the state, towns, and wire transfers take no more than 15 minutes unless the feds are backed up. There's no title issue, no liens, no environmental or waste removal issues. It's yours to enjoy as you see fit. I'll be available right after the HOA meeting to file the docs and Tuesday to receive the transfer. That's why he gets paid. He hands over the docs, standard P&S with the amount just typed in with our cover letter for the board. I grab the ortho's business card. Apparently he's a school admin. The other guy's a retired electrician, and the attorneys as well. Well, the board meeting went Well, I was told by a resident that it was a lot of arguing about not having documentation, wanting to actually challenge my ownership of the estate/property in court, and eventually the amount. Yeah, I asked a lot, but then again, they could have countered and didn't. It was not a good meeting, but in the end it was approved. Apparently another lawyer who was a resident basically told them they had no standing and I could do whatever I want with it, with or without the board's approval. I don't know if the HOA lawyer was there. My lawyer dropped by at 10:15 p.m. at a Pub 99 and I signed the documents for the final P&S and we had beers as he filed online. He said I'd get a copy in a week and would file paper copies with the town, but the deal's done when the money's transferred. Today, 8:15 a.m., I got a message that the HOA initiated a wire transfer and around 8:45 got confirmation of receipt of funds. My parents bought the place in December 1980 for $28,500. It served us well, and I flipped it for nearly 27 times that. It was a good home, but you have to move on. It'll be built or turned into a park or something, but alas, it's over and done with. Most of it's going to my kids' college and technical school tuition, and the rest to my sister for her kids. Thanks, Dad. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.